Lastly, in this world of human section, I'd like to comment a little bit about Beowulf's actions after he defeats Grendel's mother and eventually becomes king of his own nation. Upon the defeat of Grendel's mother, Hrothgar gives a speech about kingship, which is pretty famous in poetry today. And it's very clear that he understands that Beowulf will become king, and therefore he requires this instruction in kingship and the ways of being a good king. Beowulf, however, does not become king immediately when he returns to his homeland, the homeland of the Geats. Um, Beowulf's king Hygelac dies, and Hygelac has a rightful heir. The heir is named Heardred. Beowulf is offered the crown. Beowulf could have become king. The queen offers it to him. But Beowulf represents justice and the right. And Beowulf understands that through the laws of custom and tradition, Heardred must become king, and that if he were to usurp the crown, it would create more conflict. So Beowulf once again shows his wisdom and shows his patience and ultimately shows his virtue as a future king. Details are sparse about Heardred's reign. He was very young, it appears to be short and violent, and upon his death, Beowulf becomes king. Beowulf rules, and again, the narrative here will cut off and essentially just establish that there were 50 years of peace. And when we return to the narrative, we see the arrival of the dragon, the theft of his cup, and the downfall of the Geats and the downfall of Beowulf's people is clearly shown in these last scenes of the poem. Beowulf has been a great king, and when he decides that he will attack the dragon, it would be expected that his thanes, who have enjoyed such a glorious reign and much prosperity under Beowulf, would join him and help him in this mortal endeavor to battle such a fearsome creature as the dragon. However, Beowulf is abandoned by almost all of his retainers, by almost all of his thanes at this scene. This is similar to Beowulf's battle with Grendel's mother, when Beowulf swims underwater and the warriors who are with him wait beside the water and give up and do not help him. Beowulf is clearly a savior figure in a way who the people who are with him, in a sense, do not deserve or are not worthy of, in spite of his many deeds of valor and what he has shown. And we see this theme appear again during the battle with the dragon. All of the retainers flee, and Beowulf is left to fight the dragon alone, with only one companion, Wiglaf. And at the end of the poem, Wiglaf gives a speech in which he predicts the defeat of the Geats by the Swedes and chastises the Geats for their treachery and for their cowardice and not standing up and protecting and fighting with their king. And then as readers, we see Beowulf's ship launch out to sea. The poem ends on a very tragic note because we are left with the sense that in the immediate future, the Geats will be destroyed. Their nation will be subjugated by the Swedes. But ultimately, Beowulf and his heroism lives on and remains its importance. But the poem again ends on this theme of impermanence, of immutability, and of tragedy. And this is the world of humans in Beowulf. It is one in which death is inevitable, that civilizations, just like people, must die, but it is the glorious deeds that we do in life which provide meaning to this experience. Later, I will touch on some of the Christian ethos and themes in Beowulf and how these provide avenues of redemption. But this ends my section discussing the world of the humans, their relationships, and how these reflect upon Beowulf and the themes found in the poem.